Hey, happy Friday. Hey, I wanted to jump on. I'm sharing tonight. I want to talk to you about something very specific about what is in our way of who you know you want to be and who you are right now. So exactly what's in that way, what's in that gap, so you can start shifting that and step into that person that you know you're meant to be. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Natalie Jill. Nice to meet you. I'm a licensed master sports nutritionist and functional fitness trainer. And what I do is I help people level up their lives and age in reverse by changing our mindset and then creating actions that follow that so we can become the person that we're meant to be. So thanks for joining me tonight. I love that you're joining me. If you are watching me now, let me know how old you are. I'd love to know that. I'm 47, so I love to know that I'm reaching people close in age to me. And also let me know where you're watching me from so I know where you're chiming in from. So thanks for joining on. I've got Instagram and Facebook, and I'm also going to be opening it up to questions. So I'll be sharing and teaching some, and I'm going to be answering any questions that you have. So thanks for joining me. So here's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So many times I have women say to me, I just feel like what used to work for me is not working for me anymore. Like whatever I used to do for my life where I felt confident and connected and happy, it's just not working the same for me. And what happens with that is it starts showing up in different ways. So maybe it shows up in their weight. It starts showing up in their health and their fitness, but it starts showing up in their social life too. Like maybe they stop feeling as confident. Maybe you listening can relate to this. You stop feeling as confident, and now you're more in hiding. And you start thinking, well, maybe it's just the way it's supposed to be. Maybe we get older and this is what changes, or maybe I'm supposed to not feel happy and confident or fit anymore. And you start thinking that maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But that doesn't feel good, right? We don't want to accept that maybe we're not supposed to feel a certain way anymore, or look a certain way anymore, or be a certain way. So it doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like a great place to be. So I'm going to talk to you right now about this because there's some very specific things that you can start to change right now that will help you level up and create something new for yourself. Because what you are right now doesn't have to be the way that it is for the second half of your life. You can completely change this and start making the second half of your life even better than the first half of your life. So just because you're a certain age or you're feeling one way now doesn't mean it has to keep going this way. It doesn't mean it has to keep going this way. So I'm going to share some very specific things that you can do. You ready for this? Okay. All right. Number one is I want you to recognize that you can be an entirely different person a year from today by changing just two things. You know what those two things are? They're your thoughts and your actions. So just by changing your thoughts and your actions, you can be an entirely different person a year from now. So you think of anyone that you look up to, any role model, anyone that you like the way that their life appears or who they are or what they stand for. If you start to think the way that they think and you start to take the actions that they take, you would become very similar to them. On the flip side, if you keep thinking those thoughts you've always had and you keep taking those actions you've always taken, you're going to remain there. Also, if you look at somebody who has a life that you don't want, maybe they're in a backward spiral, a place that you don't want to be, and you start taking their thoughts and actions, you would end up there too. So you can be an entirely different person a year from now, an entirely different person just by changing your thoughts and actions. But how do we do that? That sounds a lot easier than it actually is. How do we actually change our thoughts and actions, especially if you're fighting well, I'm just getting older and I just don't feel like it and I'm not motivated anymore, because then you feel like, well, maybe it's crazy. Maybe I shouldn't even want to change my thoughts and actions, right? So how do you start to do that? How do you start to do that? First step is you have to recognize it. You have to recognize that this is in your way right now, that you're not thinking healthy thoughts for you. You're not taking the right actions. You have to recognize that first. And a lot of those thoughts, I call them self-imposed stops, because they're beliefs that we formed really based on nothing. We formed them based on someone else's opinion or something that we read. There are things like, I'm too old, it's too late, I'm too injured, it's past my time, it'll never work for me, nothing works for me. That's a self-imposed stop. And that's an example of a thought that doesn't work. It keeps you stuck where you are. So by changing those thoughts and knowing, okay, I need to start thinking like somebody who wins. I need to start thinking like somebody who improves themselves. I need to start thinking like somebody who takes action, who has success, who creates abundance, who has results, who's aging in reverse. I need to start thinking those thoughts. By doing that, you start to shift it. So it's a conscious decision that you're going to start letting those self-imposed stops go, start interrupting when they come up, and making decisions based on where it is that you want to go. So stopping those self-imposed stops and saying, I'm going to have different thoughts. I'm going to have thoughts like a person that's succeeding, and I'm going to take actions like that person succeeding. Many of you know that I love vision boards. I talk about vision boards a lot. And one of the reasons I do that is sometimes we get so stuck in our own heads and our own comfort zone and our own ways that we can't even imagine what it would be like to be in a different place. So we stay in this loop of thoughts in a place we don't want to be, right? We stay stuck there with, I feel lazy, I feel tired, I don't feel relevant, or whatever it is. But when you create a vision board, you have actually something to look at that you can evoke a feeling from. So for instance, if you put fit people in your age range on a vision board and you start looking at it and you start visualizing, okay, if I was that person living in this vision board, what actions would I be taking? What thoughts would I be thinking? You can literally trick your brain into start taking those actions and making those thoughts happen by creating a vision that you're looking at. So that's why I'm a big fan of vision boards. Okay, so number one was change your thoughts and actions. You could be an entirely different person a year from now by changing your thoughts and your actions. The second thing I want to share is that old habits become patterns. So if you are stuck in a habit of, it's the weekend, I just like to sleep in, or it's the morning, I like to take my time and hit snooze, or at night, I like to zone out watching TV and having a glass of wine, whatever it is. Those old patterns become habits and they keep you stuck. So you have to break up those old patterns, those old habits, to change and create something different for yourself. So taking a really good look at how are you spending your time? What are those habits? What are those things that you're doing? Are you scrolling social media all the time? Are you sleeping in? Are you pressing snooze? Are you rolling your eyes to things that could be positive and really good for you? What are those habits that you're creating for yourself? Are you saying, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm tired? Are you saying, I don't want to connect with a friend because of whatever reason? What are those old habits that you're stuck in and repeating that are becoming patterns? Because by changing those, we can become an entirely different person. The next thing that's keeping us stuck is not having an interruption. And let me explain what I mean by that. So a lot of us, we stay stuck in a certain way, and we tend to find people to validate those ways, people to validate our excuses, people to agree with us, people to also keep us stuck, not interrupt us. So for instance, if you're watching this and you're in this place of, I feel like I'm getting old and I'm just not as fit as I used to be, for instance. Maybe we're telling that to friends, like, oh, aging sucks, I'm getting older, I just don't feel fit anymore. And maybe your friend's saying, yeah, it does suck. It does suck. Okay, that's not an interruption, that's a validation. Or maybe you're not talking to a friend about it, instead you're going on Google and you're Googling your age and, my metabolism slows down, or thyroid, or whatever it is. You start Googling that and you start finding evidence and validation of whatever's going on in your life, right? So that's not an interruption either. That's just validating and keeping you comfortable. So an interruption means I need to seek somebody outside of this circle. It's literally going to call me forth and interrupt this pattern that I've got. Somebody that's going to say, you know what? That's baloney. Who cares that you're 50 and you feel this way? That's not the way it has to be. There's other people that are your age that are doing it. It needs an interruption. So what that you're injured on this? There's other people that have overcome that injury. So an interruption is seeking somebody that is going to call you forth on what's possible for you versus keeping you stuck exactly where you are. People that keep you stuck exactly where you are, that's just validating excuses. That is not going to help level you up to another level. The next thing is a community and support. So looking at who are you surrounding yourself with? What information are you taking in? Who are you learning from? Who are you listening to? So for instance, you can spend your mornings a lot of different ways. Do you spend your mornings complaining about it being early, gossiping with people when you get to work, feeling negative, looking at yourself in the mirror saying, oh, I don't like the way that I look, I don't like the way that I feel? Or are you spending your morning listening to a podcast that's going to help up-level you? Or maybe reading something or journaling something that you're grateful for, or visualizing how your day is going to go? How are you spending your time? Who are you spending your time with? And are you surrounding yourself with information that's going to help up level you? Really important to look at that. So these are just some simple things that people are doing that I see that get in people's way, that keep them held back, that keep them stuck exactly where they are. And I'm going to definitely take some questions. So please, jump in if you've got anything to ask. And I also want to share some stories with you. So I'm about to share with you an opportunity that I have coming up to work with me, and I hope some of you will take it seriously and apply, but I want to show you some examples and why I talked about this topic earlier. So this is an example. I'm going to show you my friend Susanna. This is when I met her right here. She's a grandma. Look at her. She started work with me a year ago. This is her now. And what's interesting is I spoke with her yesterday. She was sharing how much her life has changed in the last year. And what was so cool is she said, Natalie, I used to think that like morning routines and listening to podcasts, that was also cheesy. She used to think that. But that was this person that was thinking that. The person that became this started thinking very differently. But it took her having to get a purpose, having to understand that she wanted more for her life, having to be open to an interruption, having to be open to coaching, having to be open to surrounding herself with new information so she could totally change her thoughts and actions. And what's funny is she said to me yesterday, wow, I'm a totally different person. I completely changed my thoughts and actions. And she remembered I had said that to her a year ago, but it hadn't stuck yet until she actually went through it and lived it. So that's possible. I also want to show you Landa. This is Landa when I met her right here. This is her. So Landa here felt all those things I talked about earlier. She didn't feel confident anymore. She felt like maybe it's too late, maybe I'm too old. She didn't know what was going on with all that. This is Landa now. This is Landa now. She had to totally change her thoughts and actions, which is what she did. She had the support. She had the coach. She worked with me. She up-leveled her life. She came to my Breakthrough Weekend experience, and she went from this to this, which is incredible. Many women like Susanna, their income changes. All of a sudden now they're making more money. Why? Because they're more confident. They have a vision. They have a purpose. They know exactly what they want in their life. So they have something to move forward to with passion. So another example, this is Karen. When I met her, same thing. She had all the stories. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe it's too late. This is her now. Look at her. Look at her at 50. It's incredible. She changed her thoughts and actions. She opened up to an interruption. She changed her surroundings, what she was taking in. She stopped listening to people validating excuses, and she up-leveled her life. And it all started coming to a Breakthrough Weekend and deciding that with me. I'll show you a couple more. This is Nicole. I love this one. This was Nicole when I met her. A lot of reasons her life wasn't working. Maybe it's genetics. Maybe it's hormones. I'm depressed. I don't feel confident. I don't feel good about myself. Nothing's working in my life. This is her now. Look at her. Look at that. This is her. This is by changing her thoughts and actions, being open to an interruption, being open to coaching, being open to taking things to a new level, by putting herself in an experience that changed her for that. So it is possible. It's absolutely possible. So many success stories with that. So what I'm sharing with you is not necessarily what you came to me for. Some of you come to me, you look for diet, nutrition, and I can give you all of that. And I'm happy to give all that to you. But what I want to share is it's so much more than that. It's a shift in your mindset. It doesn't matter what diet I give you, what workout I give you. If we stay stuck in our old patterns and our old mindset and our old beliefs, then we stay stuck and nothing shifts. It doesn't matter what diet, what workout you follow. When you change your mindset, dramatic results happen like this. This is Terry. She had to change her thoughts and actions, which she did. She changed who she surrounded herself with. She opened herself to interruptions, and this was her. I mean, look at that. It's incredible, incredible what can happen with that. So it's up to you. Are you next? Are you next to be part of this? So what can you do? So you can take what I just shared with you. There's a few little things, and there's so much more. I share free information all the time, by the way, and you can start applying this. But if you're really ready for a massive interruption, and if you're done feeling this way, if you're truly ready, like to 100% commit to yourself and level up your life and take things to a new level, if you are ready to be done with the excuses, if you're ready to be done stuck in your story about not having money, about not having confidence, about having ailments and issues and things wrong with you, if you're seriously ready to shift that, then please apply, because I have a few spots left, especially in February. I have a few spots left where you can actually work with me directly for 3 months. You're gonna work with me and my husband, and you'll come physically work with me for 3 days in addition to the 3 months of coaching, where we shift things for you over a weekend. Like, things completely change for you. You leave with a full new vision and purpose. You're clear on what it is that you want to create over the next year. We help get rid of the things that are holding you back, all those old patterns, those things that are in your way. We interrupt all that for you. We help you create new patterns so that it sticks. And a byproduct of that, the coolest part about it, while you're having fun doing this, the best part is you end up losing weight and getting your confidence back and making more money. All those things are a byproduct of that because you get really clear on your vision and your purpose. So if you're at all interested in that, we have a few spots left in February. I'm going to put the link right here. You want to go to www.nataliejilllapply, JillApply.com, and you can apply. Just type it on Facebook, but NatalieJillApply.com. Fill out an application. It'll come over to us. We'll take a look. If we think you're a candidate, we'll schedule a brief phone call with you, no obligation, to see if it's the right match for you. But what I'm looking for is not just anyone that wants to fill out an application. I'm literally looking at you if you are feeling this way, so the way that I described earlier. So if you are in your 40s or 50s, you're a female, and you feel like there is more to your life, like you're ready for this second half of your life to be a whole nother level, like you're ready to find your passion, your purpose, to finally make more money, start whatever it is that you wanted to start, that business, that dream, whatever, and finally get your confidence back and start living your life, like truly living it, and age in reverse. Like I say age in reverse because when you're passionate and you're on purpose and the weight starts coming off and you feel good, you do start aging in reverse. If that is you, then definitely apply. I only take 10 women at a time in these groups. So I'm talking to you. You know who you are if you're listening. And if you're listening saying, I don't have this time, I don't have the money, then that's part of your pattern and your problem right there. That's an old thought pattern that you're stuck in. So I'm going to challenge you to really look at that and at least have the conversation with us so I can help you get to the next level. So anyways, I'm going to take some questions. If there's any questions about that or anything, please jump on. I'm going to make sure I answer any questions. Hi, Catherine. Yes, done. Awesome. Hi, Jill. Thank you, Jill. That's awesome. Yes, you guys, and for those of you just joining me, I'll leave this up so you can hear from the beginning. But what I was sharing at the beginning, if you're jumping on late, is I shared these, there's a few specific things that are in the way of who you are meant to be right now. And although I'm happy to talk to all of you, I love you men on here, and I love you younger women, and you even older women. But who I'm specifically talking to are you women that are listening, that are in your 40s and your 50s, and you know that you're ready for a much bigger life. Like, you know there's more to your life than what you're feeling right now. You know that you're ready to have that confidence, to create something bigger for yourself, to change your life. And there's so much more. There's so much more. It doesn't have to be this story about I'm this age and it's over. So I'm talking to you if you're really ready to stop validating those excuses and start leveling it up with the right people, getting that interruption so we can bring things to a new level. I would love to hear from you. So apply, NatalieJillApply.com, and I can't wait to see your application. Thanks, guys. Bye.